Lieutenant Sam Morgan walked his golden retriever Buddy through the park on a quiet Sunday morning. The sun was bright, and birds sang in the trees. It was a normal day until it wasn't. A shadow fell over the park. Sam looked up and stopped, walking. Buddy stopped too and gave a small whine. Above them, a huge ship blocked out the sun. It was not like any airplane Sam had ever seen. It was massive and shaped like a giant disc with strange lights on its underside. "What in the world?" Sam whispered. Buddy pressed against his leg, tail low. Other people in the park had noticed too. Some were pointing upward. Others were running, away. A few had phones out, taking pictures or videos. The ship hovered for several minutes. Then a beam of blue light shot down from its center, touching the ground about 50 feet from where Sam stood. Within the light, shapes began to form. Sam should have run. He knew that. But curiosity kept him rooted to the spot. Buddy barked once, then fell silent. 3 figures appeared in the blue light. As the light faded, Sam could see them clearly. They were not human. Each stood about 7 feet tall with dark exoskeletons that gleamed in the sunlight. They had 4 arms and 2 legs. Their heads were oval-shaped with 6 eyes arranged in a circle. Below the eyes were moving mandibles, like those of an insect. The tallest alien stepped forward. A device on its chest glowed and a mechanical voice spoke in English. "I am Commander Verzak of the Krathul Empire. This planet is now under our control. Resistance is not advised." Sam blinked. This couldn't be real. Aliens didn't just show up in local parks on Sunday mornings, but the evidence stood before him. Impossible to deny. Hello," Sam said, immediately feeling foolish. What did one say to alien invaders? "I'm Lieutenant Sam Morgan, United States Navy. I'm not authorized to speak for Earth, but maybe we could talk about this?" The alien's 6 eyes focused on him. "You are a military officer?" "Yes, but I'm off duty. I'm just walking my dog." The alien commander tilted his head. "Dog? Our scanners detected genetic war beasts on this planet. Is this one of them?" He pointed at Buddy. Sam looked down at his golden retriever. Buddy had flopped onto his back in the grass, tongue lolling out as he wiggled happily. "War beast? No, this is just a pet. A companion animal." The translator device made clicking sounds. The aliens conferred among themselves in their language. Then the commander turned back to Sam. "Our scans show this creature has descended from wolves, a pack-hunting predator. Yet it obeys you without restraint devices. Explain this." "Well, dogs were domesticated thousands of years ago. We breed them to be friendly, loyal companions. They're not weapons." The other aliens moved closer to examine Buddy, who had rolled back onto his feet and was now sniffing curiously toward them. One alien jerked back when Buddy approached. "It seeks to analyze our chemical composition," the alien said to its commander. "He's just smelling you," Sam explained. "Dogs experience the world primarily through scent." The commander's mandibles clicked rapidly. "These dogs can detect chemical signatures? This is a sophisticated biological sensor." Sam realized the aliens were seriously misunderstanding the situation. "Look, Commander Verzak, dogs are just friends. They live with us, play with us. They're not weapons or tools." As if to contradict Sam's statement, a woman jogging with her German shepherd approached. The shepherd noticed the aliens and began barking loudly, pulling at its leash. The aliens immediately dropped into fighting stances, weapons appearing in their hands from compartments in their armor. "See, that war beast alerts to our presence and attempts to attack," the commander said. The jogger, finally noticing the scene before her, froze in shock. Her dog continued barking. "Hold your fire," Sam shouted to the aliens. "That's just what dogs do when they see something unfamiliar. They bark. It's a warning, not an attack." The commander's 6 eyes narrowed. A sophisticated alarm system integrated into the war beast's genetic programming. Impressive. Sam had to think fast. These aliens clearly viewed everything through a military lens. If they thought Earth had biological weapons ready to deploy, they might attack first. "Commander, with all due respect, you're misinterpreting our relationship. With dogs, let me demonstrate." Sam turned to Buddy. "Buddy, sit." Buddy immediately sat, tail wagging. Lie down. Buddy lay down in the grass, roll over. Buddy rolled onto his back, paws in the air. The aliens watched in what appeared to be astonishment. Total control through verbal commands, the commander said. No visible technology. No neural implants. How is this possible? It's called training and trust. Buddy does these things because we have a bond. He trusts me, and I take care of him. The woman with the German Shepherd had gotten control of her dog and was cautiously approaching. Is everything okay here? She asked, eyes wide as she took in the aliens. Lisa, Sam said, recognizing her from the dog park. These are, visitors. They think our dogs are weapons. Lisa looked from the aliens to her dog, Max, who had calmed down but was still watching the aliens intently. Weapons? Max here wouldn't hurt a fly unless someone tried to hurt me first. The commander turned his attention to Lisa and Max. This war beast is also under your control? He's not a war beast, Lisa said firmly. He's a dog. My friend. The aliens conferred again in their clicking language. Show us what these creatures can do, the commander finally said. Demonstrate their capabilities. Sam looked at Lisa, who shrugged. Okay, Buddy, shake. Sam held out his hand, and Buddy raised, his paw to place it in Sam's palm. The aliens watched intently. Max, speak, Lisa commanded. Max gave 2 sharp barks. The commander's mandibles clicked rapidly. They respond to specific verbal code words. Fascinating. More people had gathered at a distance watching the scene unfold. Among them was Pete. Jones with his yellow Labrador. Pete approached cautiously. Sam, what's going on? Before Sam could answer, the commander spoke. You control another war beast? How many do you humans command? Pete looked confused. War beast? You mean Sunny? She couldn't hurt anyone if she tried. As if to prove his point, Sunny strained toward the aliens, tail wagging so hard her whole body shook with excitement. The commander stepped back. It appears eager to engage. She just wants to say hello, Pete explained. She loves meeting new people. People? You consider us people? The commander seemed taken aback. Well, you're not human, but you're clearly intelligent beings, Sam said. Where we come from, we try to respect all intelligent life. The alien commander was silent for a long moment. Then he turned to his companions and spoke in their language. The discussion seemed intense. Finally, he faced the humans, again. We came expecting a primitive species ready for conquest. Instead, we find a people who have formed alliances with the predator species of your world and treat other intelligent life with respect. This complicates our mission. Sam felt a small spark of hope. Perhaps instead of conquest, we could discuss peaceful contact? I'm sure our governments would be interested in diplomatic relations. Diplomacy, the commander said, as if testing the word. This was not in our mission parameters, but adaptation is necessary for survival. He straightened to his full height. Lieutenant Sam Morgan, we will postpone our invasion plans. Instead, I wish to learn more about these dogs and your relationship with them. They are unlike any creatures in our empire. And just like that, Earth's first official contact with alien life began not with war, but with a golden retriever named Buddy rolling in the grass on a sunny Sunday morning. Word spread fast in the small town of Millfield. Within an hour, the park was filled with curious onlookers keeping a safe distance from the aliens. Police had set up a barrier, but they looked just as confused as everyone else. Commander Verzak and his 2 officers, Lieutenant Kritik and Science Officer Zinvox, remained in the park. They stood in a tight group, all 6 of their eyes constantly moving, watching everything. Do you think this is wise, Commander? Lieutenant Kritik asked in their clicking language. The High Command ordered immediate subjugation. The High Command did not account for these humans having genetic allies, Verzak replied. We must assess the full threat before proceeding. Sam and Lisa stayed with the aliens, trying their best to explain human society. Both had called their bosses to say they wouldn't be coming in today. How could they explain that they were busy preventing an alien invasion? So you're saying these dogs were once wild predators, but you changed them over time to be your friends? Science Officer Zenvox asked. studying Buddy with 4 of his 6 eyes while the other 2 watched Max. "That's right," Sam said. "We call it domestication. It took thousands of years." "And you did this without genetic manipulation technology?" Zenvox seemed amazed. "Well, just selective breeding. We let the dogs with friendly traits have puppies, and over many generations they became the animals you see today." The aliens found this concept hard to understand. In their world, animals were either wild or lab-created for specific purposes. The idea of a slow partnership developing over thousands of years was new to them. In our empire, we create war beasts in labs. They are born ready to fight with built-in obedience to their commanders. They feel no fear, no pain, no attachment. They simply obey, Verzak explained. Lisa looked sad at this. She knelt and hugged Max. "That sounds awful. Our dogs are our friends. They have their own personalities. They feel happy, sad, excited, afraid. We care about them and they care about us." The aliens watched this display of affection with what appeared to be confusion. "You show physical affection to this predator species?" Verzak asked. "Of course," Lisa said. "Max is part of my family." This concept seemed to stun the aliens into silence. Just then, Gary Miller arrived with his 3 cats, Whiskers, Shadow, and Mittens. The cats were in a large carrier, meowing loudly. "I heard aliens are here and they want to see our pets," Gary called out as he approached the barrier. A police officer tried to stop him, but Sam waved him through. The aliens tensed at the new sounds. "What creatures make these noises?" Verzak demanded. "Those are cats," Sam explained. "Another type of pet." Gary set down the carrier and opened it. Whiskers, an orange tabby, darted out first, followed by Shadow, a sleek black cat, and finally Mittens, a fluffy calico. The aliens seemed alarmed by the cat's quick, silent movements. Latir Kritik actually took a step back when Shadow approached, sniffing the air. "These move like assassins," Kritik observed. "Silent, quick, calculating." Gary laughed. "They're just curious. Cats are natural hunters, but these 3 couldn't catch a mouse if it ran right in front of them. They're too well fed and lazy." As if to prove his point, Mittens flopped over and began licking her paw. "Observe how it grooms its killing appendage," Zenvox noted, "maintaining its weapons." Sam tried not to smile. The aliens really did see everything, in military terms. "Tell me," Verzak said, turning to Sam, "do these cats also obey commands like the dogs?" Now Sam couldn't help but laugh. "Not exactly. Cats are more independent. They do what they want, when they want," Gary added. "That's why some people prefer them. They're like little roommates with fur, not servants or soldiers." The alien commander seemed troubled by this. "You allow predators to live among you without control? We provide food, shelter, medical care, and love," Lisa explained. "In return, they give us companionship. It's a partnership, not control." Then Shadow decided to rub against Zenvox's leg. The alien scientist froze completely. "It is touching me," Zenvox said, voice tight with tension. "Is this an attack?" No, Gary assured him. "That's how cats show affection. She likes you." "Likes me?" The concept seemed to baffle the alien. More people had arrived at the park. Hannah Collins brought her parrot, Polly. When Polly suddenly spoke, saying, "Hello, who's a pretty bird?" the aliens nearly jumped out of their exoskeletons. "That flying creature speaks your language," Verzak exclaimed. "Is it a sentient species?" "No, Polly is just mimicking human speech," Hannah explained. "Parrots can learn to repeat words and phrases they hear, but they don't understand the meaning like we do." The aliens conferred among themselves again, clearly agitated. "Commander," Latir Kritik said urgently in their language, "these humans have surrounded themselves with creatures designed for different military functions. Dogs for alarm and loyalty, cats for stealth and assassination, birds for surveillance and intelligence gathering. If they unleash all these on us at once—" "I see the danger," Verzak replied. But notice how none of the war beasts act aggressively, unless provoked. This suggests the humans value restraint, a sophisticated tactical approach. Sam noticed the alien's growing unease. "Is everything okay?" he asked. Verzak turned to him. "We are reassessing. Your species has formed alliances with different predator species, each with unique capabilities. This shows a level of strategic thinking we did not anticipate." "They're not allies in a military sense," Sam tried to explain again. "They're companions." "Companions," Verzak repeated the word. "This concept is difficult. In our society, every relationship has a clear purpose and hierarchy. Companion implies equality." "Not exactly equal," Lisa said. "But we respect them. We care about their well-being." The crowd at the park continued to grow. Children were now present, many pointing excitedly at the aliens. Some had brought their own pets, more dogs, a few cats, even a couple of hamsters in small carrying cases. The aliens observed the children with particular interest. "Your young are trained to control war beasts from an early age?" Verzak asked. "They're not war beasts," Sam repeated patiently. "But yes, children often grow up with pets. It teaches them responsibility and empathy." "Empathy," Sinvok said, testing the word. "The ability to understand another's feelings." "Exactly," Lisa nodded. "Even for non-human species?" Zinvok seemed genuinely puzzled. "Especially for non-human species," Sam said. "It's easy to care about those who are like you. The challenge is caring about those who are different." The aliens fell silent again, seemingly deep in thought. Their contemplation was interrupted when a small child, a girl about 5 years old, broke away from her mother and ran toward them. In her hands was a small cage containing a white rabbit. "Look at my bunny," she called out excitedly. "His name is Snowball." Before anyone could stop her, she was standing right in front of Commander Verzak, holding up the cage for him to see. The alien commander went completely still, all 6 eyes fixed on the child and the rabbit. Everyone held their breath, afraid of what might happen. Then, slowly, Verzak crouched down to the child's level. "This is your companion?" he asked, his translator making his harsh voice sound almost gentle. The little girl nodded enthusiastically. "He's my best friend. Do you want to pet him?" Verzak looked up at Sam, seemingly unsure. "It's okay," Sam said. "Rabbits are very gentle." With extreme caution, as if disarming an explosive, Verzak extended one of his 4 hands toward the cage. The rabbit's nose twitched and it moved forward to sniff the alien's finger. "It does not fear me," Verzak said, sounding amazed. "Rabbits are prey animals," Lisa explained. "In the wild, they'd run from predators, but Snowball here was born in captivity. He's used to people." Prey animal? As companion? This seemed to be an even more difficult concept for the aliens to grasp than predator companions. The little girl's mother finally caught up, looking terrified. "Amy, get back here right now." "But Mom, the alien wants to meet Snowball." Verzak straightened up. "Your offspring shows no fear. She is brave." The mother looked from the alien to her daughter, clearly unsure what to say. "It's okay," Sam assured her. "They're just trying to understand our relationship with animals." As the day went on, more people arrived with more pets. The aliens observed each new species with fascination and confusion. They watched as people demonstrated tricks with their dogs, played with their cats, and handled smaller pets like hamsters and guinea pigs. By late afternoon, Commander Verzak requested a meeting with Sam and Lisa alone. They walked to a quiet corner of the park, away from the crowd. "We came to this planet expecting primitive beings ready for conquest," Verzak said. "Instead, we find a species that has formed bonds with other species not based on dominance, but on mutual benefit. This is unprecedented in our experience." "It's just how we live," Sam said simply. "Your children show no fear of us. Your predator companions do not attack without cause. You have created a society based on cooperation rather than pure strength." Verzak's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. I must report this to my superiors. This changes our assessment of your planet. Lisa smiled. Does this mean you're not going to invade? That decision is not mine alone to make, Verzak replied. But I will recommend further study before any military action. Your species is more complex than we understood. By the next morning, the whole world knew about the aliens. News crews had surrounded the park in Millfield. Military vehicles lined the streets. Government officials in dark suits hurried about, talking urgently into phones. Above it all, the massive Krathul ship still hovered, casting a shadow over the town. Commander Verzak had returned to his ship overnight but came back down with a larger delegation. This time, there were 10 Krathul warriors and what appeared to be scientific personnel. They set up a small base in the park with strange equipment. Sam had been asked by local officials to continue acting as a liaison since the aliens seemed to trust him. Lisa stayed as well, along with Buddy and Max. They want me to do what? Sam asked the stern-faced government agent who had pulled him aside. Just keep them talking, Agent Kelly said. The military is assessing options. The president will address the nation this evening. Until then, we need to buy time. Sam didn't like the sound of that. These aliens aren't hostile, not anymore. They're curious. If we attack them, who knows what their full fleet might do in response? Agent Kelly just gave him a hard look. That's not your concern, Lieutenant. Follow orders. When Sam returned to the alien delegation, he found Commander Verzak examining a detailed holographic map of the town. Ah, Lieutenant Morgan, Verzak said. We have been scanning your settlement. You have many companion animals here. Approximately 62% of dwellings contain at least one non-human life form. That sounds about right, Sam nodded. Pets are very common. And yet we also detect weapons, Verzak continued. Many of your people possess firearms and other devices designed to cause harm. Sam shifted uncomfortably. Some people own guns, for hunting or protection. It's complicated. Verzak's mandibles clicked rapidly. A gesture Sam had learned indicated deep thought. Your species creates bonds with animals, yet prepares to fight against your own kind. Fascinating. Before Sam could respond, there was a commotion at the police barrier. A large man was arguing with the officers, gesturing angrily toward the aliens. Besides him stood a massive dog, a Caucasian shepherd, nearly the size of a small bear with thick gray fur. Let me through, the man was shouting. They want to see our animals, right? Well, they should see a real guardian. The officers were trying to calm him down, but the man was determined. The huge dog beside him wasn't barking or lunging, but stood alert, eyes fixed on the aliens. Commander Verzak noticed the disturbance. What is happening there? Sam sighed. Just a guy causing trouble. We should ignore it. But Verzak was already moving toward the barrier, his warriors falling in behind him. That creature, Verzak said, pointing at the huge dog. It is different from the others. Its stance, its focus. It is a true war beast. It's just a big dog, Sam said, hurrying to keep up. Some breeds are larger than others. The man at the barrier saw the aliens approaching and stopped arguing with the police. His face shifted from anger to a smug smile. You want to see what a real guard dog can do? He called out. Not these pampered pets everyone's been showing you? The police tried again to move him back, but Commander Verzak raised a hand. Let him approach, the alien ordered. The officers looked to Agent Kelly, who gave a reluctant nod. They stepped aside, and the man walked forward with his massive dog. Name's Joe, the man said, not bothering with a handshake. This here is Titan. He's a Caucasian shepherd, bred for centuries to guard livestock against wolves and bears. Verzak studied the dog with all 6 eyes. Titan stared back, unblinking. This animal was bred for combat? Verzak asked. For protection, Joe corrected. He's gentle with his family but will fight to the death against threats. Want to see what he can do? Before anyone could object, Joe turned to his dog. Titan guard. The dog's demeanor changed instantly. He stepped forward, placing himself between Joe and the aliens. His fur stood up along his spine, and a low, rumbling growl came from deep in his chest. The alien warriors immediately raised, They're weapons. No, Sam shouted, stepping between them. Everyone calm down. Joe, call off your dog right now. Joe seemed pleased with the reaction. Relax. He's under control. Titan, stand down. The dog immediately relaxed, the growl stopping as quickly as it had started. Commander Verzak's mandibles were clicking rapidly. Total aggression to total calm at a word. Impressive control. That's the difference between a real working dog and these pets, Joe said, patting Titan's massive head. When it comes down to it, every dog is still a predator at heart. We just decide when to let that side out. Sam didn't like the direction this was going. The aliens had finally started to understand that Earth's animals weren't weapons, and now Joe was undermining all that progress. But before he could say anything, there was another commotion. A woman was approaching with a large bird perched on her arm, a golden eagle with a wingspan that had to be 6 feet across. I heard there were aliens interested in our relationships with animals, she called out. I thought you might want to see a different kind of partnership. She walked right up to the barrier, seemingly unafraid. The eagle on her arm swiveled its head to stare at the aliens with fierce yellow eyes. I'm Carol, she said. I'm a falconer. This is Artemis. The alien stared at the massive bird of prey, clearly fascinated. This is a hunting bird, Verzak stated rather than asked. That's right. Carol nodded. We work together to hunt. It's one of the oldest partnerships between humans and animals, dating back thousands of years. Verzak turned to Sam. You told us your animals were not for war or hunting. I said most pets aren't, Sam corrected. Carol's eagle is different. Falconry is a specialized practice. Carol held up her free hand. It's not just about hunting, it's about respect. I don't own Artemis, we're partners. She stays with me because the relationship benefits her. To demonstrate, she held up a piece of meat. The eagle took it gently from her fingers. She could fly away anytime she wants, Carol explained. But we trust each other. This seemed to intrigue the aliens even more than Joe's display with Titan. A partnership with a predator based on mutual benefit, not control, Science Officer Zenvox noted. This matches what you told us about your companion animals, Lieutenant Morgan. Sam felt relieved. Maybe this wasn't going badly after all. But then Peter Sanchez arrived with his retired police dog, Rex. Unlike the other dogs, Rex wore a vest that clearly identified him as a former K-9 officer. The aliens immediately noticed Rex's different demeanor, alert, focused, scanning his surroundings constantly. This one moves differently, Lieutenant Critique observed. It has been trained for combat. Not combat, Peter corrected. Law enforcement. Rex was my partner on the police force for 7 years before he retired. He's trained in tracking, apprehension, and protection. Commander Verzak's interest was clearly piqued. This is a true war beast, then. He's a working dog, Peter said firmly. He only used force when absolutely necessary, and only on command. Show us, Verzak demanded. Sam tried to intervene. Commander, I don't think... It's okay, Peter said. I brought my training gear. He went to his car and returned with a heavily padded sleeve and a training dummy. Rex is trained to apprehend suspects who are fleeing or threatening officers, Peter explained as he set up the equipment. But he's also trained to release on command. With the dummy set up and the sleeve on his arm, Peter gave a demonstration. At his command, Rex launched into action, chasing down the suspect and grabbing the padded arm with powerful jaws. But the moment Peter called release, Rex let go and returned to his side. The aliens watched with what seemed like both approval and concern. The perfect soldier, Verzak said. Fierce in attack, obedient to orders, loyal to its commander. The crowd had grown larger throughout the morning, with more people bringing unusual pets and working animals. Someone had even brought a small pony. Children were everywhere, excited by both the aliens and the variety of animals. It was beginning to feel like a strange festival, rather than a potential alien invasion. But amid the growing chaos, Sam noticed Agent Kelly on his phone. His expression, grim. When he finished his call, he motioned urgently for Sam to join him. We've got a problem, Kelly said in a low voice. The Krathul have 5 more ships approaching Earth. They'll be here within hours. The President is convening an emergency session of the UN Security Council. Sam felt his stomach drop. Did Commander Verzak know about this? If he did, he didn't share that information, Kelly said with an edge to his voice. Our satellites only just detected them entering the solar system. We need to know their intentions now. Sam returned to Commander Verzak, trying to hide his concern. Commander, I've just been informed that more of your ships are approaching Earth. Can you tell us why? Verzak turned all 6 eyes on Sam. Yes. After my initial report, the High Command decided to send reinforcements. This is standard procedure when encountering a potentially hostile species. Hostile? Sam fought to keep his voice steady. We've done nothing but cooperate with you. True, Verzak acknowledged. But we have observed that your species has great military potential. These animals you command, the weapons we have detected, all suggest a species prepared for conflict. Sam felt a creeping dread. All the demonstrations of guard dogs, police dogs, hunting birds, the aliens had misinterpreted everything as evidence of Earth's military capabilities. Commander Verzak remained in his ship for 6 long hours. During that time, tension grew on Earth. Military forces continued to gather around Millfield. News helicopters circled at a safe distance. The President had addressed the nation, calling for calm while admitting that humanity was facing its greatest challenge. Sam paced nervously at the edge of the park, Buddy at his heels. Lisa sat on a bench nearby, absently stroking Max's fur. What do you think is happening up there? Lisa asked. Sam shook his head. I don't know. Either Verzak is convincing his superiors to leave us alone, or they're planning their attack. Agent Kelly approached them, his face tight with stress. Any word from the commander? Nothing yet, Sam replied. Our satellites have detected the Krathul reinforcement fleet, 5 ships each larger than the one above us. They've slowed their approach but are still heading for Earth. Kelly's voice was grim. The Security Council has authorized defensive measures if diplomacy fails. Sam looked up at the massive ship hovering above them. What kind of defensive measures could possibly work against that technology? Kelly didn't answer, which was answer enough. Just then, the familiar blue beam of light appeared in the center of the park. Commander Verzak descended, but this time he was not alone. With him was another Krathul, taller and with more elaborate armor. The new alien's exoskeleton was a deeper shade of blue, and symbols were etched into the armor plating. Lieutenant Morgan, Verzak called out, please approach. Sam took a deep breath and walked forward, Buddy following faithfully behind. Agent Kelly moved to accompany him, but Sam shook his head. This felt personal somehow. When he reached the aliens, Verzak made a gesture that might have been their version of a bow. Lieutenant, this is High Commander Kavex of the Krathul fleet. He has come to assess the situation personally. The taller alien's 6 eyes studied Sam intensely. When he spoke, his translator made his voice sound deeper, more authoritative than Verzak's. Commander Verzak has made some unusual claims about your species. I found his report so extraordinary that I felt I must see for myself. Sam stood straight, trying to project confidence. High Commander, we welcome the opportunity for peaceful contact between our peoples. Kavex made a clicking sound that the translator didn't convert. Peace is not the Krathul way, human. We expand, we conquer, we survive. It has been thus for 10,000 years. Maybe it's time for a change, Sam suggested, keeping his voice steady. Kavex's mandibles clicked rapidly. Bold words from a member of a species that has yet to leave its own solar system. We're young, Sam admitted, but we learn quickly. Kavex turned to study Buddy, who sat calmly at Sam's side. This is one of the companions Commander Verzak reported? A genetically modified wolf that obeys your commands? He's not modified, not really, Sam explained. Dogs evolved alongside humans for thousands of years. We helped each other survive. Co-evolution? Kavex seemed skeptical. You expect me to believe that a predator species willingly diminished its aggression? Not diminished, Sam corrected. Redirected. Dogs are still predators, but they channel those instincts to help us and to protect us when needed. As if understanding the conversation, Buddy stood up and moved slightly in front of Sam, his eyes fixed on Kvex. The High Commander noticed the movement. It positions itself to defend you. Interesting. From behind them came the sound of approaching footsteps. Sam turned to see Dr. Kate Bailey, the local veterinarian, walking toward them. She had been helping care for the various animals that people had brought to the park over the past 2 days. "I hope I'm not interrupting," she said calmly, seemingly unfazed by the presence of the aliens. "I wanted to check on Buddy's paw. I noticed he was favoring his left front leg earlier." Without waiting for permission, she knelt beside Buddy and gently lifted his paw. The dog allowed the examination without resistance. "Just a small cut between the pads," she announced after a moment. "Nothing serious, but I'll clean it and put some ointment on to prevent infection." Kvex watched this interaction with obvious fascination. "You provide medical care for these animals?" "Of course," Kate replied, looking up at the imposing alien while continuing to tend to Buddy's paw. "They depend on us for their health and well-being." "This one is a soldier, yes?" "A war beast?" Kvex asked. Kate laughed softly. "Buddy? No, he's a family pet, though all dogs have protective instincts to some degree." She finished treating Buddy's paw and stood up. "I'm Dr. Kate Bailey, by the way. I'm a veterinarian, an animal doctor." "Your society has specialized healers for non-human species?" Kvex seemed genuinely surprised by this. "Absolutely. Different animals have different medical needs," Kate explained, her professional manner unwavering despite the extraordinary circumstances. "I spent 8 years training to treat companion animals. Other veterinarians specialize in farm animals, wildlife, exotic species, and so on." Kvex turned to Commander Virzak. "You did not mention this aspect in your report." "I was not aware of it, High Commander," Virzak admitted. Kvex's attention returned to Kate. "In our empire, when a war beast is injured beyond quick repair, it is euthanized and replaced. The resources to heal it would be considered wasted." Kate's expression hardened slightly. "That's the difference between seeing animals as tools and seeing them as living beings worthy of care." The High Commander seemed taken aback by her directness. His mandibles clicked rapidly, but he did not respond immediately. The moment was interrupted by the arrival of more people. Peter, with his police dog Rex, Carol with her eagle Artemis, and several families with various pets. Word had spread that another alien leader had arrived, and people were curious. Kvex observed the gathering crowd. "Your species does not fear us." "Some do," Sam acknowledged. "But curiosity is a strong human trait, often stronger than fear." "Curiosity," Kvex repeated. "A dangerous quality in a primitive species." "Maybe," Sam shrugged. "But it's also why we're here, talking instead of fighting." Kvex seemed to consider this. Then he pointed at Rex. "That one is trained for combat, yes? Show me its capabilities." Peter looked to Sam, who nodded slightly. With practiced efficiency, Peter put Rex through a series of demonstrations, apprehending a target, finding hidden objects by scent, responding instantly to verbal and hand commands. "Impressive," Kvex acknowledged when the demonstration was complete, "but limited. Our war beasts are faster, stronger, and can operate in environments that would kill this creature instantly." "Rex isn't just valuable for his abilities," Peter replied, kneeling to ruffle the dog's fur affectionately. "When he was my partner on the police force, I trusted him with my life daily. We formed a bond that went beyond training." "Bond," Kvex said as if the word was foreign to him. Commander Virzak mentioned this concept repeatedly in his report. "It seems central to your relationship with these creatures." "It is," Lisa said, joining the conversation with Max at her side. "The bond between humans and dogs goes back before written history. We evolved together, learning to understand each other's signals and needs." Kvex turned his attention to the various other animals that people had brought. "And these other species? You claim to have bonds with all of them?" "Different kinds of bonds," Kate explained. "Each species has its own way of relating to humans. Cats are more independent. Birds like Artemis choose to work with us. Small pets like hamsters and rabbits trust us to protect them." "Trust," Kvex repeated. Predator and prey, living together based on trust rather than dominance. Exactly, Sam nodded. It's not about who's strongest, it's about mutual benefit and respect. The High Commander was silent for a long moment, his 6 eyes moving from one animal to another, studying each interaction between the pets and their humans. Finally, he spoke. In 10,000 years of Krathul expansion, we have encountered hundreds of species. All were either conquered or exterminated. Some we enslaved. Others we genetically modified to serve specific functions. But never have we formed bonds. His gaze returned to Sam. Perhaps this is why your species interests me. You are physically weak compared to us. Your technology is primitive, yet you have achieved something we have not. Before Sam could respond, there was a commotion at the police barrier. A young woman was trying to get through, urgently speaking to the officers. After a brief exchange, they let her pass. She hurried toward them, carrying what looked like a large pet carrier. As she got closer, Sam recognized her as Jenny Evans, who ran the local wildlife rehabilitation center. I heard the aliens wanted to learn about our relationships with animals, Jenny said, slightly out of breath. I thought they should see this side of it too. She carefully set down the carrier and opened it. Inside was a red-tailed hawk with bandaged wings. This is a wild hawk, Jenny explained to the aliens. She was injured when she flew into a power line. My center takes in injured wildlife, heals them, and releases them back to the wild when they're ready. Kvek studied the injured bird. You expend resources healing animals that provide you no benefit? They don't need to benefit us, Jenny replied firmly. They have value in themselves as part of our ecosystem. All life deserves respect. Even life that is not useful to you. Kvek seemed genuinely puzzled by this concept. 1 week had passed since the Krathul ships first appeared over Earth. The world had changed in ways no one could have predicted. The small park in Millfield was now the site of the most important diplomatic meeting in human history. A large dome-shaped structure had been erected where Commander Verzak had first landed. Inside, representatives from nations around the world met with Krathul delegates. Sam stood at the edge of the park, Buddy sitting calmly beside him. He watched as important people in suits and uniforms came and went from the diplomatic dome. It felt strange to no longer be at the center of events, but he was grateful for the return to something approaching normal life. Penny for your thoughts? Lisa asked, joining him with Max on his leash. Sam smiled. Just thinking about how quickly everything changed. A week ago, I was just a Navy lieutenant on leave walking my dog. Now the whole world knows about aliens. And it all started because they thought our pets were weapons, Lisa laughed. Their conversation was interrupted by the approach of a familiar figure. Commander Verzak walked toward them, flanked by 2 Krathul guards, who remained a respectful distance back. Lieutenant Morgan, Ms. Townsend. Verzak greeted them with what Sam now recognized as the Krathul version of a bow. I hoped I might find you here. Commander? Sam nodded. How are the talks going? Productive, though slow. Your crow species has many different governments, each with their own concerns. It complicates matters. Verzak's mandibles clicked, and what Sam had learned was amusement. High Commander Kvek is not accustomed to negotiation. He prefers direct action. This experience has been educational for him. And for all of us, Sam said. What happens next? Verzak gestured toward the sky. The reinforcement fleet will depart tomorrow. They will carry news of Earth back to the Krathul Empire. Our ship will remain for continued diplomatic relations. So no invasion? Lisa asked with a smile. No invasion, Verzak confirmed. The High Command has decided that Earth would be more valuable as an ally than as a conquered world. Your species' approach to interspecies relationships is of particular interest to our scientists. Sam raised an eyebrow. You mean our pets? Among other things, Verzak nodded. The Krathul have always viewed other species as either threats to eliminate or resources to exploit. Your concept of companionship across species boundaries is revolutionary to our thinking. Verzak knelt down, still an awkward motion for his alien physiology. and extended a hand toward Buddy. The golden retriever sniffed the offered appendage, then gave it a friendly lick. The alien commander didn't flinch as he might have a week ago. "I have been studying your relationship with these animals," Verzak said as he stood back up. "The biochemistry is fascinating. When you interact with them, your bodies release oxytocin, a bonding hormone. The animals experience the same response. You are biologically rewarded for caring for each other." "That's true," Sam nodded. "Though, most people just know it feels good to pet a dog, not why it feels good." "The why is important," Verzak insisted. "It suggests that cooperation and nurturing can be as evolutionarily successful as domination and conquest. This challenges Krathul philosophy at a fundamental level." They walked together along the edge of the park, two humans with their dogs and an alien commander contemplating new ideas. "I have a request," Verzak said after a while. "A personal one, not a diplomatic matter." "What's that?" Sam asked. "I would like to learn more about your companions, not just as a scientific study but as experience." The commander seemed almost embarrassed. "High Commander Kovex has authorized me to establish a cultural exchange program. I wish to understand how humans and animals form these bonds." Lisa smiled. "You want to spend time with our pets?" "Yes," Verzak admitted. "It seems important to truly understand what we have discovered here." Sam thought about it for a moment. "I think that could be arranged. Dr. Kate's veterinary clinic might be a good place to start. She works with all kinds of animals." "Thank you," Verzak said. "There is another matter I wish to discuss. The young human female with the rabbits. Amy, I believe her name is." "What about her?" Lisa asked. "She has been permitted to visit our ship several times over the past week. She brings her rabbit offspring and tells our scientists about their care. Her perspectives are uniquely valuable." Sam smiled at the thought of little Amy teaching alien scientists about bunny care. "How so?" "She has no preconceptions about how species should interact. No fear, no prejudice. She speaks to us as she would to other humans and treats all living things with the same simple kindness." Verzak's voice carried a note of wonder. "Our xenobiologists find her approach revolutionary. Children often see things more clearly than adults do," Lisa said. "They haven't learned all our biases yet." "Indeed," Verzak agreed, "which leads me to my second request. With her parents' permission, of course, we would like Amy to become a junior ambassador in our cultural exchange program. Her natural ability to bridge the gap between species is remarkable." Sam laughed. "From almost invading our planet to asking a 5-year-old to be an ambassador, you Krathul adapt quickly." "Adaptation is necessary for survival," Verzak said seriously. "The Krathul have survived for 10,000 years through strength. Perhaps the next 10,000 will require something different." Their walk had taken them to the small pond at the center of the park. Ducks paddled peacefully on the surface, occasionally dipping their heads beneath the water. A young family was feeding them breadcrumbs, the children laughing as the ducks quacked and scrambled for the food. Verzak watched this simple scene with obvious fascination. "Everywhere I look on your world, I see examples of humans living alongside other species, not just controlling them, but appreciating them. Not all human-animal relationships are so positive," Sam felt compelled to point out. "We have factory farms, animal testing, habitat destruction. We're far from perfect in how we treat other species." "Yet you recognize these imperfections," Verzak noted. "You strive to do better. This too is valuable to learn." The alien commander fell silent, watching the ducks and the laughing children. After a while, he spoke again, his voice quieter. "Before coming to Earth, I had never questioned our ways. Conquest seemed the natural order of things. The strong survive, the weak perish. But your world has shown me another path: cooperation, symbiosis, mutual care." He turned his 6 eyes to Sam. "Which is truly stronger? The one who stands alone, or the one who forms bonds with others?" Sam didn't have a simple answer for that philosophical question. Instead, he said, "Why not stay and find out? It seems like we have a lot to learn from each other." Later that day, as the sun began to set, a small ceremony took place in the diplomatic dome. It was not a grand affair with world leaders. That would come later. This was more personal. Amy stood proudly next to her mother, holding the carrying case with her rabbit Snowball and the 4 babies, now with their eyes open and covered in soft fur. Across from her stood Commander Veerzak and High Commander Kivex, Dr. Kate Bailey presented each of the alien commanders with a small golden pin shaped like a paw print. In recognition of your commitment to understanding Earth's interspecies relationships, we'd like to make you honorary members of our wildlife education program, she announced. Kivex accepted the pin with surprising solemnity. We came to your world-seeking conquest and found wisdom instead. The Krathul Empire has much to learn from Earth. Amy stepped forward, fearless as always. Does this mean you'll visit us again? When the baby bunnies are all grown up? Kivex's mandibles clicked, in what might have been a smile. Indeed, young Ambassador Amy. I believe this is the beginning of a long relationship between our peoples. The little girl beamed. Can I show you how to hold a bunny properly? They like to feel secure. And so, in the diplomatic dome that would later see historic treaties signed, the High Commander of the Krathul fleet learned how to properly cradle a baby rabbit from a 5-year-old human girl. His massive 4-fingered hands, designed for warfare, gently supported the tiny creature. For Sam, watching from the edge of the room with Buddy at his feet, it was the perfect image of what first contact should be. Not fear or dominance, but curiosity and care across the boundaries of species. That evening, as the Krathul ships glowed softly in the night sky, Sam sat on his porch with Buddy stretched out beside him. The golden retriever's head rested on Sam's lap, and Sam absently stroked the dog's soft fur. His phone had finally stopped ringing constantly. The president had called personally to thank him for his role in the first contact. News agencies from around the world wanted interviews. There was talk of a movie deal. But right now, none of that mattered. What mattered was this quiet moment with his dog, the bond that had quite literally saved the world. You know what's funny, Buddy? Sam said softly. Those aliens crossed countless light years with technology we can barely understand. They've conquered hundreds of worlds. But they had never learned what you and I knew all along. That sometimes the strongest connection isn't built on power, but on trust and care. Buddy thumped his tail against the porch boards as if in agreement. In the weeks that followed, Commander Veerzak became a common sight around Millfield. He could be found at the dog park, observing the play behavior of different breeds.